Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We're doing another pre-release draft for you, Shadows Over Innistrad. Silver Fur Partisan is the rare, 3-mana 2/2 trample. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control becomes the target of an instant or sorcery spell, you get another wolf. Good against removal, also good with buffs. Is there anything else in here that's good? We've got this Aberrant Researcher, which I think is good. I mean, 5/4 is a big dude. And it feeds Delirium. I think that's a powerful card. It's a little too build around for my taste. I'm okay trying out the Silver Fur Partisan. This card seems very good. I guess it does kind of require you to want, like, tricks. But even that's not necessarily true since, like I said, against removal it just spits out wolves. It's that versus Aberrant Researcher, and I'm not sure which one I like more. I think the Partisan, just because it's rare, I'd prefer to try out the rares a little bit here. Cryptolith Rite is cool and all, but I'm not sure that's what I want. All right, well, Combat Trick that pairs well with Partisan might be okay. We've got Gone Missing otherwise, which is removal. We've got this Twins of Maurer Estate, which I think is a really good card, actually. It's probably more exciting than Aim High. I think Aim High is a good combat trick, but it feels too early to take it. I imagine the best card in this pack is probably the Twins, just because the madness is pretty nice. If you can pull off a 3-mana 3/5 at instant speed, I would say you're doing pretty good. And it just seems like a more exciting pick than Aim High. Kind of a weak pack, though, admittedly. I think we're just going to take the Madness, dude. I've got a good feeling about him. Certainly played against it and was very impressed. Okay, we've got this Rancid Rats, which I like a lot. A Death Toucher with Skulk. Pushes through damage, blocks well, fills for Delirium. Got Uninvited Guest, which I think is pretty good. Gets unblockable. I don't like this Harness the Storm. Humble the Brute seems pretty good. Kill something, investigate, I like. I'm probably okay with this Rancid Rats, though. I feel like this card's probably pretty good. Not super impressed with the green picks in here. We're going to take the Rats. We're going to get some Death Touch Rats here. Good blockers. Maybe too early for it. We'll find out. Trail of Evidence, a bit of a build around. Sleep Paralysis is good. We've got some straight up removal here. Confront the Unknown I like. I like Reduce to Ashes. Reduce to Ashes potentially moves me more of this vampire direction. Reduce to Ashes versus Sleep Paralysis. You know, not exactly sure which one I like more. There's also a Hinterland Logger in here, which does pair well with the Silver Fur Partisan. Green-black is probably okay. I think I want one of these removal spells, though. We've also got this Emissary of the Sleepless, which seems only okay to me. Yeah, I think I like the Reduced to Ashes more than the Sleep Paralysis. Not exactly sure on that, though. Still kind of early. I mean, Sleep Paralysis maybe deals with more things, but it still lets your opponent sort of let their abilities go off every turn, you know what I mean? Like, at least this just exiles it. Crow of Dark Tidings for some Delirium, and it's an evasive creature. I kind of like the Crow. Insolent Neonate, which is good with Madness, but overall kind of an unexciting card. Sanitarium Skeleton, which is okay, probably not great, a little bit combo-ish. I'm probably okay with the Crow of Dark Tidings here. I think it's probably a pretty good card if you can end up with some Delirium especially. And more exciting than a combat trick. I like getting the evasive guy here, I think. Okay, so Counterspell versus... So Merciless Resolve pairs well with that Sanitarium Skeleton. I do like that. Got this fairly late Vessel, which isn't bad either. Probably the best card remaining in here. Otherwise, it's like a Madness Counterspell, which is okay. The red cards aren't great. Merciless Resolve I like. I just don't know if I like It's kind of like an Altar's Reap. You know what I mean? It's more expensive than Altar's Reap, but you get to sack a land too. Altar's Reap usually went pretty late, which I think I'm going to take this Vessel. Haven't done black-white. I don't know how I feel about it yet. Okay, so another crack at Reduced Ashes, which might still be the pick here. Alms of the Vein, it's okay. I'm not super impressed. Gastav Arsonist, I think are okay too, but I'd rather have the removal. Militant Inquisitors, just pretty whatever. Ghostly Wings is a nice Madness enabler, but it is an aura, which aren't great usually. We're going to take the Reduced to Ashes. Okay, I like the Duelist. Dissension in the Ranks is just, you know, it reads like a card that's really powerful, but it requires so much things going right. Like, you have to have multiple blockers, and the multiple blockers have to be able to fight each other and kill each other. If you get to that point, though, it is a blowout, but it's a little too specific for my taste. I think Vessel of Malignity is good, but I think I'm actually going to take this Duelist. Still have a crack at making maybe a red-black Vamp deck work. We'll see. Another shot at Dissension in the Ranks. I like Griff's Boon a lot. Magnifying Glass is, you know, it's okay. Ramps. Quilled Wolf Late, which I do think is good. Let's sort by color, though. It does seem like my most powerful cards currently are in red and black. I might just want... Maybe I'd take the Magnifying Glass. Just seems like unlikely I'll want the Dissension in the Ranks. Maybe that card turns out to be good. I just don't really feel like it is. Gone Missing is good. I guess we take that. None of these cards are all that good otherwise. Yeah, I mean, I guess Harness the Storms if you end up with a million Reduced to Ashes. Catalog is good. Madness Enabler. Guess we take Pick the Brain for sideboard. Could take Catalog. Pick the Brain is like sideboard only. It does feel like I want to be red-black just because my two best removal spells are there. It's a late good blue spell, though. Alright. Kind of an odd start. I mean, Drowned Yard Explorer is very good. Might be the direction I want to go. But which color do I ditch out on then? Is it red or black? Red-blue, I imagine being okay. I guess my red's better technically because of Reduced to Ashes, but still kind of undetermined how good this is. All right, get a Madness Enabler. I like this card a lot too, actually. This card's cool. 2 Madness Enablers. Well, I think we prefer the rare. And nothing else too crazy good in here. All right, we'll take the Tormentor. 4 mana, 4/4 with some protection. I like it. And it's a Vamp, which is cool. Not the best Madness Enabler since you can't do it super early, but that's all right. What's this Crawling Sensation do? You can mill yourself for 2 at the beginning of your upkeep, and then when you put lands in there for the first time, you get a 1/1 green insect. I kind of like that card. Another Crow. We have this Insolent Neonate, which is still a Madness Enabler, but I might just want another Crow, get another Flyer. They're only okay. They do, you know, fuel the Delirium, but we currently don't have any Delirium going. I like this guy a lot. I kind of feel like we're committed to black-red. We do only have like 3 real playables in red. I mean, Just the Wind is good. I could swap into black-blue, which I'm okay with. We have 2 good blue cards at the moment. Crow is certainly playable, though. I'm going to take the Crow for now. 6 mana, 7/7 Menace, but whenever it attacks or blocks, you have to sack a creature or land. It's still a really big card here. So Sanguinary Mage is another Vamp. We don't have much of a Vamp theme yet. I don't know how good this Necropod is, but it feels like it's a strong card. 7/7 Menace for 6 is extremely efficient. Some good green cards. Sanguinary Mage is good too. I like getting cheap spells. We don't have a ton of ways to generate the prowess yet, but any sort of combat trick I imagine being good with it. And Vessel's fine too. I like this compelling deterrence. I think we'll take the Mage just because it's cheap. Could still potentially get some nice Vamp synergies. We're going to take Inner Struggle here because it's just a good removal spell. Alright, Gibbering Fiend, Macabre Waltz. Macabre Waltz pairs really well with the Mill Crows. I kind of like that, actually. That's good synergy. There's a Pyre Hound in here. Probably just want a second Rancid Rats, though. This card is just, from my estimation, very good. It's only a 1/1 granted, but I like that it can kind of sneak damage through and block. Although, I haven't determined yet if we're... I mean, usually if you want to be Vamps, you want to be aggressive. But I still think Rats are just going to be good. So Grotesque Mutation as a combat trick. There's also Uncaged Fury. There's also Truth Faith Censor, although really do not have any humans at the moment. I've really been impressed with Uncaged Fury. Murderer's Axe is a good madness enabler. We don't have any madness going. This card's only okay. I can take the mutation. I feel like Uncaged Fury is still a better trick than mutation. Is that right? It's really tough to say because this only gives you one toughness. This gives you the chance to just, even though it only gives one toughness, I feel like potentially pushes through more. I'm going to take the Fury. I don't know if that's right. I don't know which one of those I like more. All right, another shot at the Necropod. It's a nice finisher. I could see it being a good late game card. We'll take it. Killer's been fairly underwhelming. Cobalt is actually pretty good, but probably don't need it. And Pyre Hound seems okay too, but probably don't need it. All right, take the Necropod. All right, Late Throttle is a good sign. I'll take it over the Sanguinary Mage, I think, even though I would like some more early cards. I think Throttle's just going to be better. A lot of 5-drop removal, though. Not exactly where you want to be. All right, we can take a Warped Landscape, another Fury, or a Grotesque Mutation. Mutation's going to pair really well with the Sanguinary Mage. It also is good with the Crows. All right. Otherwise, Warped Landscape for some fixing, as well as Fueling Delirium, which we have none of. I'll probably just take the Mutation then. I guess none of these cards really matter. I'll take the Companion, I guess. All right, second Necropod. I kind of don't want to run that in multiples. I guess we'll take the Wicker Witch. Or I could take the Vessel. I don't know how good the Vessel is yet. It's probably okay. But we'll take the Witch just in case we end up with Delirium somewhere. Howlpack Wolf versus Senseless Rage. I guess we'll take the Wolf. Not really that great for our deck, though. So, I'm not exactly happy. I'm not exactly unhappy with our deck yet. It's only so far okay. Like, we have some okay removal. We have okay creatures. I'd like some more finishers. I wish we had more zombie. Well, Zombie Rat, okay. Do we have any others? Hey, zombies. All right. Guess we only have 4. What else? We could take the Sinister Concoction. I think that card's actually pretty good removal. We've got the Tormenting Voice. I don't think, I mean, I can't imagine Diagraph Colossus is worth anything. I doubt there's a standard zombie deck going around. I mean, I kind of like how Diagraph Colossus plays with the Crows, because not only are they zombies, but they fuel more zombies in your yard. What's this blob do? 3 mana, 3/3 when it attacks. I like that. That's good. I just don't think I'm going to swap into it at this point. It's not worth anything either, but it is good. Probably want the Sinister Concoction, rather. Just seems like a card I'm going to want to play. Removal. Alright, Geist Blast, Madness, Steel Effect, another Throttle. I think now we might just want the Geist Blast. Like, another Throttle's fine, but we're starting to get a little bit top heavy. Let's keep the curve down a little bit. We're not going to be able to activate Geist Blast, but it's still a removal spell. Seems acceptable. Probably don't need this Shard. Probably don't need the Magnifying Glass either. Okay, another Reduced to Ashes. Could take the Murderer's Axe. It's good on evasive stuff, but otherwise a little bit unexciting. Guess we can take Reduced to Ashes, number 3. It seems like we've got a lot, though. Probably don't need to main deck to pick the brain. I just don't know about Murderer's Axe with one Madness card in our deck. Seems unnecessary. Convicted Killer I'd like to upgrade to, and the Howlpack Wolf. We'll see if it happens. Skeleton, Neglected Heirloom. We really don't have much in terms of transform, though. We've got one Tormentor and a Convicted Killer, which makes it a lot less exciting. Skeleton in this deck, I guess, is something I can do with Sinister Concoction. Really not much else, though. Guess it actually works with Necropod. Could see that. Not very efficiently, but otherwise I take Truth Faith Censor with like 0 humans in the deck. 1 basically that I don't even want to play. It's kind of cool with rats, Death Touch rats, but it doesn't really work all that well with... Guess we can take Skeleton. I don't know if I want it or not. Harvest Hand does some things. I kind of like that it's a creature that... I probably want the Farbog Revenant, though. I like that this turns into equipment. We don't really have the humans to support the Menace, which makes it a little bit inefficient. Dance with Devils versus Farbog Revenant. I probably prefer the Revenant. We actually look like we have a decent little Skulk brew going. Double rats that can block, some evasion. Ditch the killer for a Revenant is probably okay here. Accomplice for more cheap, or we can take another Howlpack Wolf, pour over the pages. The Wolf not being able to block, I don't really like. It's probably an upgrade over Hulking Devil, though. Accomplice is only okay. You know, it's not that bad, actually. A bear that turns into a zombie later versus a efficient attacker that can't block. Let's keep the curve a little bit lower, I think. I think I value the versatility more than not being able to block. Probably. Especially since we're kind of a deck that wants to pick and choose where we use our removal. Beginning of your upkeep, each player discards a card. Each opponent who discards a card that shares a card type with you, with the card you discard, loses 3 life. Otherwise, I take this Rotten Heart Ghoul, which is only okay. Could take the Tormenting Voice. It's probably, you know, it's pretty playable. It really only works with the twins in this deck. I might play it over a combat trick. I could take the Ghoul to get my 15th creature. I do want to make sure I have enough creatures. Rotten Heart Ghoul does not seem particularly good, but I guess we'll take it. I just don't have a ton of need for the... Alright, I guess we'll take the Howlpack Wolf. We have no Delirium, so I guess we can ditch out on Wicker Witch. Although, would I prefer a 3/1 or a 3/3 can't block? That's A reasonable question. Alright, another shot at Rotten Heart Ghoul or Tormenting Voice. I mean, the problem is Tormenting Voice doesn't even pair that well with Twins. It's a sorcery, so you have to do it on your turn. You still need 5 mana to play it. I might just ditch Sanitarium Skeleton. It basically pairs well with Sinister, Concoction, and kind of Tormentor, kind of Necropod. I'm not even sure if I'll run the Necropod. We'll find out. Malevolent Whispers versus Dual Shot versus... Not going to play the Vessel. Not sure if I need a Malevolent Whispers. Guess it's kind of cool. With, like, Concoction. Destroy something, steal something. Dual Shot's more of a sideboard card. I feel like we have enough removal. Murderer's Axe, I guess. Stitch Mangler this late is surprising. I just don't think I'm going to play the Murderer's Axe. Doesn't seem super likely. I just don't have a lot of need. I guess it pairs well with Skeleton, but not really feeling it. We'll hate a Mangler, I think. I like that card. Alright. Like a Lamplighter. Sure. Alright. A little bit of an underwhelming deck again. I really haven't made a deck in this format yet that I've been super happy with. I think this deck's fine, but not really that great. Like, our removal is pretty good. Our finishers are a bit underwhelming. I don't know if I want this Malevolent Whispers main deck. I'm still not convinced I really want this Sanitarium Skeleton. Basically, like I said, only good synergy with Morkret and Necropod, which I feel like this puts games away relatively fast by the time you play it anyway. If you can't afford to sack a creature or land, just don't attack or block with it. But if you can, then 7/7 Menace, it's going to take some stuff out, you know? Like, if you've gotten to 6 mana, I think you can afford to at least sack 1 land. You can at least attack for 7, and you likely will be able to attack for 7 again. I feel like this pushes a lot of damage through. I'm at least going to give it a try before I decide if I like it or not. I think we're going to ditch on the Skeleton, though. Despite the fact that it's got good synergy with Necropod and Concoction, I'm just pretty underwhelmed by it. And then that leaves just one more cut. I don't really want to cut our 5-drop removal. I think we can get away with a 17 land deck here. I have multiple Rotten Heart Ghouls. I guess they kind of synergize with Necropod, but they don't attack well. I guess they block the ground while I fly, but... Not exactly sure. I could just cut a combat trick. I still think I like Uncaged Fury more than Mutation. I feel like the double strike really gets there, but you need high power to really take advantage of that. I mean, technically, Uncaged Fury on these 1 power guys deals the same than that Mutation does, but Mutation at least lets you gain life. But it feels like we have so much removal, like Concoction. Let's look at our hard removal. We got Concoction, Geist Blast, Inner Struggle, triple Reduced to Ashes, Throttle. I have 15 creatures, so it does feel like I either need to cut a removal or a trick, and I'm kind of leaning towards trick. Usually removal is just better than trick. Reduced to Ashes, I feel like deals with most things, as does Throttle, so I kind of want to keep these. Inner Struggle, same sort of deal. Geist Blast is at least cheap enough where I want to try it out, despite the fact that we can't use the Exile effect in this deck. I am going to try the Necropod as a big-time finisher. See if I like it. Rotten Heart Ghoul. We have some real underwhelming creatures in here, and I'm not exactly sure what to do about that. I think we're running the minimum amount of creatures that I feel comfortable running. I mean, it feels like we can block, we can evade a little bit. I wish our evasion was just a bit better. Our evasion's not quite where I want it to be. Like, we're trying to get there with 3/3s that can't block, which does not seem great. Really do not have the wolves or werewolves to support these Howl Pack wolves, but I don't feel like cutting them. The Accomplice is just something to do cheap. I kind of want to keep my curve low since we're a little bit clunky. I'm going to cut a trick, and I think I'm cutting the mutation. I just don't know what I like more. Maybe Uncaged Fury is actually worse in this deck. If our, like, it's insane on a Necropod, but so is mutation. I guess we'll cut the Uncaged Fury. If I had higher power guys, I'd be more on board with Uncaged Fury, but we just don't. So this deck's like a D. I've been unhappy with every deck I've drafted so far. I've done a lot better than I expected to. This deck has a lot of removal, but the creatures are so, in my mind, kind of inadequate that I'm a little bit underwhelmed. I think we're going to do a 9-8 split. It does not feel like an 18 land deck, I don't think. 1/6 drop. We do have 5/5 drops. We've got like no way to enable Madness. I keep trying to make a Madness deck and falling short. I guess Crow of Dark Tidings also technically has some synergy with Sanitarium Skeleton. You mill it and you bring it back, but it's just so mediocre. Rotten Heart Ghouls are so mediocre too. Yeah, I can't give this deck any higher than a D, and it feels like it's about as unexciting as my red-white was. So I'm going to give this like a 64%. One of these days I'm going to have a sick brew, but until then, I guess we're just going to peck away with this kind of mediocre deck and see how we do. All right, we'll see you round 1.